I am your host, Nizzy, and in this video, you guys, we're going to be doing a little recap of last night's Sunday night football game between the Packers and the Vikings, you guys. My Green Bay Packers ended up dousing the Vikings 37-10. Obviously, they were dealing with a bunch of protocol issues and injuries as Kirk Cousins was out. Adam Thielen's been shut down for the season with that ankle injury. So it was just kind of a scrap-together Vikings squad who was just, trying to get through it, trying to get through a game undermanned. And the Packers, obviously, big things on the line here with that first seed on the table if they were to win last night's game, which obviously they clinched the first seed now in the NFC, getting a bye week through the first week of the playoffs. Obviously, everyone's got to come play at Lambeau Field now to make it to the Super Bowl here, so this is the second year in a row that the Green Bay Packers have gotten home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Hopefully we can make better do of it this year than we did last year. Obviously, all you guys remember losing that game to Tampa Bay in the NFC Championship game there at Lambeau Field last season. Hopefully this year is a different story. Things are looking good for the Packers, man. Things are looking good for us heading into the playoffs here. Should be getting some guys back off of injury list coming up in that first week of the playoffs there. Going to be nice to have pretty well 2 bye weeks as well. Packers are pretty much going to be getting 2 bye weeks here because I'm sure they're going to be sitting a bunch of players in the Lions game coming up next week. So I would expect us to be sitting most of our starting lineup. And all the key contributors to the team aren't going to be playing in that one, I would assume. Right, real quick, before we start breaking down the rest of this matchup from last night, you guys, if you can go ahead and like this video, if you like sporting content like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're looking for more sporting content like this in the near future. Been getting a lot of support lately, you guys, and I greatly appreciate it. We're going to keep coming out with as much content as possible for you guys. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start breaking down this game from last night. Great game. I believe this is the last Sunday night game of the season. I think it's just Sunday early games and then the afternoon matchups next week. I don't believe there is a Sunday night game next week. So this was it, you guys. Packers improved to a 13-3 record. Vikings fall to 7-9. Be interesting to see if the Packers can get up to 14-3 if they have Jordan Love starting. I would assume Jordan Love is going to be the starting quarterback next week against the Lions. Especially with Rodgers dealing with that toe injury, I would expect him to be resting for a couple weeks here. If they do want to keep some guys a little bit fresh, maybe they'll start some guys in the first half and then have Jordan Love start the second half. Not too sure what the Packers are going to decide to do. I know Aaron Rodgers said he'd be happy to play if they did put him out on the field next week. But it's going to be up to the coaching staff and management, obviously, to see if they're going to want to risk injury, having him go out there in a meaningless game against the Lions next week. Starting off with some of the team stats, you guys, Packers just absolutely dominated this game from start to finish. It was actually pretty close in the first half. I lied a little bit there. It was a little bit close. I think it was only 3-0 for the first bit there. Vikings just couldn't put any points on the board. And then the Packers finally got some points going there in that second half. Just dousing them in the second half. They couldn't keep up with us anymore. Good valiant effort from the Vikings, obviously, but, what can you do when you're down your starting quarterback, your second main wide receiver next to Justin Jefferson's out, you're missing your 2-star defensive tackles and edge rushers on that defense for the Vikings as well. They only were able to accumulate 11 first downs on the offense for the Vikings. Comparatively, the Packers had 29 first downs, so a rough go. 2-12 on third down for the Vikings as well, so a rough go on third down. They were stuck in a lot of third and longs situations throughout that game. Packers did a lot better on third down, finishing 7 for 13, above 50% on third down. And that's something Aaron Rodgers prides himself on, is that third down completion. You live and die on third down in the NFL. It's the money down. It's the biggest down in football. You know what I mean? You get that extra chance to be able to get that first down. So, we took good advantage of that on our third downs. Obviously, having third down and short distances is huge as well. That run game was going nice for us, so we had a lot of third and short opportunities that we ended up capitalizing on throughout that game. Just dusted them up in the run game as well between A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. Had a phenomenal performance, 174 total team rushing yards for the Packers. Did a great job holding down Dalvin Cook in this one. I thought, if anything, he might be able to carry them, not to a victory, but to a little bit better of a performance. But the Packers did a great job of shutting him down early in this one. Really never allowed him to get going. He only had 9 carries for 13 yards, not even getting 2 yards per carry. So Packers did a great job of shutting him down. 27 rush yards total as a team the Vikings had, so not very good. They only had 179 passing yards as a team as well. Obviously, the Packers just annihilated them in that stat line with 307 passing yards of their own. and 174 rushing yards as a team. 481 total yards for the Green Bay Packers last night, you guys. Only 200 yards for the Vikings, so almost 300 more yards total of offense for the Packers. Just an absolute beatdown of this Vikings team. Glad to see it too, especially after the Packers gave one away to the Vikings and lost 34-31 in the earlier matchup in the season when they had their full squad ready to go. I think it would have been a bit closer of a game, like I said, if you had Adam Thielen and Kirk Cousins out there. I still think the Packers would have taken the victory, but it could have been maybe like a 30-21 game or something like that, just a little bit closer of a score. But nonetheless, Packers got it done, clinched that first seed. Huge clinch game, especially with week 18. You got that extra week in this season. You don't really want to have to roll out all your starters there for that game to try and clinch it in week 18 of the season. So it's nice to see us getting it clinched a little bit early. Obviously got some help from teams like Dallas, who lost to the Arizona Cardinals earlier in the day yesterday as well. So that benefited the Green Bay Packers. I thought the Bucs were going to lose to the Jets there if it weren't for some late game magic from Tom Brady once again. I thought the Bucs were going to lose that one to the fucking Jets. Would have been just atrocious. And then you had all that debacle going on with Antonio Brown. He's no longer a Buck. So there's a lot of other teams in shambles right now trying to figure things out. I think the Packers are in a nice spot here. We'll go through some of the player stats as well, you guys, before we wrap up this video here. Aaron Rodgers had another nice performance, sealing his MVP fate. I would assume he's going to be the MVP this season. It's going to be a tough call, though. His stats aren't, he's not number one in stats across the board this year, but he's definitely led his team to the best record in the league and has been the most efficient quarterback out there. Finished off last night 29-38 passing, 288 yards and 2 tuds. Just another great performance from him. Just some incredible throws throughout the game to Davante Adams as well as Allen Lazard. Just a masterful performance in the cold weather game from Aaron Rodgers last night. Classic throwback, vintage Rodgers in last night's game. You had Aaron Jones had an outstanding performance. Only had 8 carries last night, but had 76 yards off of those 8 carries. So, was very efficient in the run game. Also had 5 catches for 30 yards. A.J. Dillon was able to get you 2 touchdowns on the ground later on in that game. Also had 14 carries for 63 yards on the ground, as well as 2 receptions for 20 yards through the air. So just nice to see both your backs getting involved through the passing game as well as the running game. It's just so nice to see this 2-headed tandem in the backfield for the Green Bay Packers. Easily the best running back duo I've ever seen in my life as a Green Bay Packers fan. And it's real nice. You can tell how much it helps out Aaron Rodgers in that passing game, and just has that, just a complete balanced offense. It's nice to see the Packers having a true balanced offense. Something that we never really got to see during the Mike McCarthy days. It was always just a very pass-heavy offense. We never really had a star running back, and now we got 2 of them. So it's a wonderful thing to see for the Packers. Adams, outstanding performance once again, 11 catches, 136 yards and a tud. Just cementing himself as one of the greatest wide receivers to play the game in the last few years. Keeps on at this pace. He's definitely going to be in that Hall of Fame conversation going forward. Lazard had a nice game for you as well. 6 catches for 72 yards and a tud. Campbell on the defensive end gave you 7 tackles, and then you had Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary both give you a sack apiece. Nothing crazy from the defense, but just a nice solid performance. Did their job. Didn't allow things to get out of hand. Didn't allow Minnesota to get that confidence built up early on in that one. They kind of just held them down early and often throughout the game. Obviously allowing them to get that 1 touchdown late in the game, but didn't really matter at that point. So overall, just a good solid performance from this Green Bay Packers team. Over on the Minnesota side of things, like I said, Dalvin Cook only had 9 carries for 13 yards. Phenomenal job holding him down in this game. Sean Mannion, 22 for 36, 189 yards and a touchdown. Good job from Mannion not turning the ball over, to be honest with you. Obviously, a tough game when you get down like that. You got to start throwing the ball a lot. And they couldn't really get the run game going when Cook was getting the carries. So just a rough go from him. Obviously, he had no choice but to throw the ball later on in that game when you're down by a few scores. You gotta try and catch up, play that quick game. And unfortunately, it just didn't work out for them in this one. Justin Jefferson, 6 catches, 58 yards for him. You had KJ Osborne catch 3 passes for 50 yards, and Ty Conklin had 5 receptions for 47 yards as well. A couple other catches from some guys down the bottom of the roster there for the Vikings, but overall, just a beatdown of a game. Tough one for the Vikings. Great game for the Packers. Took advantage of a depleted Vikings roster, obviously, and that's what you got to do. In games like that, you just got to seal the deal early, especially with playoff implications on the line for the Green Bay Packers and clinching that number 1 seed. This was a must-win game for the Packers squad. They got it done in convincing fashion. Now we get to rest a bunch of players next week versus the Lions. Then we'll get our bye week, and then it runs through Lambeau, man. 2 home games at Lambeau, hopefully, and then go into the Super Bowl, man. Fingers crossed things work out for this Green Bay Packers this season, man. It feels like every year we get so close, but yet we're so far away. Hopefully this is the season. That Aaron Rodgers and this Green Bay Packers squad can get it done and take home the title back to Titletown. We'll have to see what happens, you guys. Should be an exciting finish up to the season next week. There's a lot of playoff implications still on the board for a lot of other teams. Nice that the Packers have clinched their first seed. But yeah, you guys, that pretty much wraps it up for this video. Would love your guys' opinion in the comments section down below. Who do you think the Packers are going to be starting next week, man? You think we're going to be sitting out a bunch of guys? Or you think we're going to roll out maybe a bunch of the starters for the first half of the game, and then the second half they'll end up sitting people? Love your guys' opinion in the comments section down below about that, as well as how you think we fared in last night's matchup versus the Vikings, and what do you think our chances are at making a run to the Super Bowl this year, you guys. Would love your guys' opinion, like I said. And once again, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video and every video on my channel. Please go ahead and like this video if you like sporting content like this. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're looking for more sporting content like this in the near future. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and this is Nizzy with Nizzy Sports.